'Tis the season for joy and gratitude, and today I am here to do the Booktube community joy and gratitude tag. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and happy Vlogmas. I am here to do a tag video that feels very appropriate for this time of year. I originally found this video on Priscilla's channel. She's at Evening Reader. She has a lovely channel if you haven't checked her out yet. And this is actually an original tag created by Pat from Book Chat with Pat. And I will have her account and video linked below along with Priscilla's account and video of this tag as well. This is such a lovely tag. I am so excited, but there are quite a few prompts, so I'm just going to get on into it. And I love this because there is a quote for every question or a couple of questions. And to start us off, the prompt is joy. Let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom, by Marcel Proust. And the first question is to name an author who brings you joy or discuss a specific book that made you feel joyful. And for all of these questions, I try to think of books and authors that I haven't talked about much, if at all, here on my channel already. So hopefully you will hear about some new things if you've been following me for a while. This first author is one that I have talked about before, but I haven't mentioned her in a while, and she is one of my very favorites, and that is D.E. Stevenson. I first read Miss Bunkle's book 2 Januaries ago when I was recovering from a broken wrist and couldn't do much of anything and just really needed something light and lovely in my reading life, and this book perfectly fit the bill. I was immediately engrossed in Miss Bunkle's world, and she is just charming and a little bit silly and so lovely. There are actually 4 books in the Miss Bunkle book series, though the latter 2 books don't feature Miss Bunkle quite as much. It's mostly about other people in her circle. But I absolutely love this book, and I equally love the sequel, which is Miss Bunkle Married. Maybe even slightly more than this one, and I adore this book. So I can't recommend the first 2 in this series enough. If you enjoy Miss Bunkle, definitely read Miss Bunkle Married. And this book has taken me down a rabbit hole of reading all of D.E. Stevenson's books. That is a life goal of mine, and she was quite prolific, so there are quite a few books to read. I think I've read 9 or 10 of her books so far, and I think I have another 6 or 7 sitting on my shelves right now, and I'm just going to keep working my way through all of the loveliness that is D.E. Stevenson. If you've never read her before, I think Miss Bunkle's book is an excellent place to start. And the second question under the joy prompt is to discuss something that you find joyful about Booktube. And definitely it is the wonderful sense of community that I have found on Booktube since I started my channel back in February. I can't believe it's been almost a year since I started this little endeavor of mine. And I've discovered so many new to me booktubers after having started my channel, and that has brought me immense joy. Everyone was so welcoming and is still welcoming to me. I just love that about this community, and I hope that I can also bring that same sense of welcomeness both to all of you who are part of my bookish community, as well as any other booktubers out there who find me and follow me. I am always looking for new booktubers to connect with, so if you have a booktube channel, please link it down in the comments below in case I am not following you, because I definitely would love to. And yes, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad there's so many other wonderful booktubers out there creating amazing content. I find it incredibly inspiring, and that definitely brings me joy. The next prompt is friendship. Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. Ellen Montgomery, Anne of Green Gables. The question for this prompt is to discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. And I decided for this question that I would pick a book that I'm not sure that I have mentioned at all on my channel, or if I have, it's been only very briefly. And the book I chose is Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. And this book is entirely about a friendship. This takes place in 1950 London, and we follow Marjorie Benson. She is a school teacher, and she is really kind of fed up with her life, and she decides to embark upon a journey to try to track down a beetle that may or may not exist. And she puts out an advertisement for a companion to go along with her, and a woman named Enid Pretty, love that name, answers the ad. I think she might be the only person who answers it. And Marjorie and Enid are a bit like oil and water, and Marjorie doesn't even really want her to come because she can sense that Enid is not really her type of person, but Enid ends up going with her anyway, and we follow along on this friendship, which is full of adventure, and there is lightness, there is some tragedy, there is some joy in this, and I think this is a beautiful depiction of an unlikely friendship that turns into a found family. If that sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I definitely recommend giving Miss Benson's Beetle a try. It is a lovely book. The next prompt is laughter. There is nothing like deep breaths after laughing that hard. Nothing in the world like a sore stomach for the right reasons. This is Stephen Chbosky, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And the question for this prompt is to discuss an author or a specific book that makes you laugh. And for this, I picked an author, and that author is Sue Townsend. Sue Townsend never fails to make me laugh. This year, I finally read The Queen and I, which has been sitting on my unread shelf for so very, very long. And this is an alternate reality where the royal family of England has to go on the dole, basically. Parliament decides that the royal family should basically no longer exist, that they serve no purpose, and they have to leave the palace and they have to go and live in subsidized housing and live on sort of welfare. I'm not sure exactly, I can't remember what that's called in England, but the equivalent of our welfare system here in the US. And it's all about how they fare with that. And this takes place, I believe, in the 80s. So Charles and Diana are still married and the boys are very young, and we follow Queen Elizabeth and everybody, and it's just so funny to see how each of them deals with this problem. And I just found this hilarious and also heartwarming, and it was just kind of, I'm not crazy about the royals. I find them kind of fascinating, and this was just kind of an interesting idea about what they might be like if they had to behave like normal people. So I definitely recommend this one. It was a great read. But that wasn't actually my first introduction to Sue Townsend. I first read Sue Townsend back in high school when my mom gifted me 2 books. The first is The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 3/4, and then the sequel to that, which is The Growing Pains of Adrian Mole. And I found this very, very funny, though I think I am planning to reread this, hopefully this coming year. I would like to read these 2 again, and I have a feeling I will appreciate them in new ways now that I am not also in my teenage years. I am far, far past them, but Sue Townsend is so funny, and these are written in diary format. That is a book format that I really enjoy, and I just love these. And then actually earlier this year, I picked up 2 other books in the Adrian Mole series. One is Adrian Mole from Minor to Major, and this is the Mole Diaries, the first 10 years. So actually this has both of these books in it, along with The Confessions of Adrian Albert Mole and Adrian Mole and the Small Amphibians. And then I also picked up Adrian Mole, The Wilderness Years. I'm not sure if there's another book between the 4th book in this series, and I'm not sure if this is the 5th one or not. I have to look that up, but I would really love to read all of these because, yes, I just think Sue Townsend's hilarious. If you need to laugh, she's a good bet to make you laugh. And the next prompt is community. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. This is Herman Melville. And the question for this prompt is discuss a book where the idea of community is important. And the very first book, well, actually series that came to mind was James Herriot's All Creatures Great and Small. I think community plays a huge role in these books. James Herriot, as you probably know, was a veterinarian in the Yorkshire Dales, and he recounted his life and adventures. And we get to meet all of the people who live in his local community, all of the farmers, all of the local business people, friends. And we get to follow James along as he lives his life, as he gets married, as he has a family. And I just think there's such a wonderful sense of community. I think because this takes place in a farming community, farmers rely so much on each other, especially if they're going through something challenging. And, you know, even though it is somewhat an isolating job to be a farmer, I also feel like other farmers are always willing to like come to your aid if something goes horribly wrong. And James Herriot gets to witness a lot of that because oftentimes vets are called in when there is some kind of big problem. And I really, really adore this series. I have been rereading this entire series. I have picked one book to read in the week between Christmas and New Year's every year. And I am currently about to read Every Living Thing. And I'm actually going to buddy read this with Kate Howe. She is also planning to read this in December. And so we decided to read it together, which I can't think of a better way to finish out reading this lovely, or rereading actually, this lovely series than to do it with one of my lovely bookish friends. And Kate has been such a joy to me in my reading life, and I am so thrilled that I have met her and become friends with her, and she is so wonderful. If you aren't following Kate, absolutely stop right here, pause your video, go down into the description box and click on Kate Howe's channel and give her a follow. She is absolutely wonderful. I'm very much looking forward to finishing out my reread of this series, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next Christmas. I have a few other James Herriot books, so I might have to dip into some of those, but such a lovely way to spend the week between Christmas and New Year's, dipping into this beautiful story of community. And then the next question under the community prompt is to discuss a communal reading experience that you have had. This was really hard. I have had a lot of communal reading experiences, from being an English major and discussing books in class to being members of book groups and doing buddy reads and other group reads, both on Instagram and on Booktube. So the communal reading experience has been a big part of my life for a very long time. But I have to say, this past year, since Rebecca and I began the Cozy Reader Book Club, has just given me so much joy. We have had so many lovely discussions of some good books, some not good books, some books we all agreed on, some books that we disagreed on, and it has been just such a lovely, lovely experience. I am so excited that we are heading into year 2, and it does feel like a lot of you are excited about it as well. And I do hope that you join us, because one of the things that we find really important about our book group is that everybody who comes feels comfortable. I know personally as an introvert that it is hard, so very hard, to put yourself out there and to join a group where it feels like maybe everybody already knows each other, maybe I won't feel welcome. And our goal is to ensure that you feel welcome in our group in whatever way you want to participate. Of course, we meet over Google Meet, so it is a video format, but you do not have to have your video camera on. You can keep your camera off. You can choose to speak or not to speak. You can use the chat in Google Meet if you prefer to talk that way, or you cannot talk at all and just listen. So however you want the book group to work for you, we want it to work that way for you. So please come. Please know that if you're feeling anxiety, there's probably somebody else out there feeling anxiety about coming too, and we would love to have you. The more, the merrier. So I'm very much looking forward to all the books we've picked for next year. For January, we are going to be reading The Woods in Winter by Stella Gibbons. If this sounds like something that you'd like to read or already have on your shelf, we would love to have you join us. As always, all the information for the Cozy Reader Book Club is listed in the description box below, and you can email me or message me through Instagram if you prefer, and send me your email address and we will get you added to our mailing list. I love to read cozy books with other cozy readers, and I would love to have you join us. The final prompt is gratitude. I can no other answer make, but thanks and thanks. William Shakespeare, Twelfth Night. And the question for this prompt is to name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you feeling a sense of gratitude. And I decided to pick the latter half of this question to answer. And I picked a slim little book that I think packs a lot of wisdom in it. And when I finished it, I was so glad that I had read it. And that book is A Short Guide to a Happy Life by Anna Quindlen. I love Anna Quindlen's writing. I think she is just wonderful. This book is so insightful, even though it is very tiny. And I think the best way to give you a feel for what this book is like is to read you a little quote from it. But you are the only person alive who has sole custody of your life, your particular life, your entire life, not just your life at a desk or your life on the bus or in the car or at the computer, not just the life of your mind, but the life of your heart, not just your bank account, but your soul. And I just love how she talks about living, and that the work that we do, whatever work it is you have to do to make money to live, is not the most important thing in your life, that there is more to it than that. And I think this book is a lovely little pick-me-up, and I definitely love having this book on my shelf to grab anytime I need little nuggets of wisdom or something just to make me feel a little bit better about life in general. And I am definitely grateful for that. And then the final question, not really a question, but the final activity for this prompt is to tag some people. And I decided to tag a few people. I could have tagged so many people. I picked 3 people to tag who really have made me feel welcome over this past nearly a year here on Booktube. And ladies, I'm tagging you, but feel no pressure to do this tag. If you want to do it now or at some time in the future, that would be fantastic. I would love to hear your answers, but I'm just tagging you because I want to tell you how much I appreciate your welcomeness and all the wonderful content that you all put out on your channels. And the first person I want to tag is Miriam at Miriam Elizabeth Reads. I'd also like to tag Gina at Gina Stan Your Books, and then the lovely Johanna at Me, My Dog, and Books. Thank you, ladies, for welcoming me here to this Booktube community and for being such joys in my Booktube watching life. And that is it for the Booktube community joy and gratitude tag. Thank you again to Pat for creating such a fun tag video. I really enjoyed doing this, and I think it was a lovely tag to do during the holiday season. And I'd love to chat with you all down in the comments. I'd love to hear your answers to any and or all of these questions. What are you grateful and joyful for right now about books, about Booktube, about anything in life in general? Let's share all the lovely bookish goodness down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button. If you are not already subscribed, I would love to have you as part of my bookish community. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back with another Vlogmas video very soon. Bye!